I said Renee, actually Rafael, and Rodon. I meet with Mr. Signorello, and I think we're scheduled to meet with him this week, are we not? Wednesday of this week. And I've actually, probably, imprudently, threatened Mr. Signorello that if I don't get what I want from his level, I'm going to go higher to the guy who just bought the Milwaukee Bucks, I think, is the owner of SECI. Well, the big company. The big company is called Fortress, by the way, if you want to send emails to the gentleman whose last name escapes me. I wanted you to know how important I consider this from my standpoint, and if at some point I do elude the mayor's masking tape, my entire staff, mine is, I think, one person is here, just about. They're all right here. They all have business cards. They all are accessible to you. This lady is Joanne, and she is the gatekeeper. Anything that you want to put in front of me, just say Joanne P, the usual spelling, and Miami-Dade.gov. Okay? My chief of staff, Ricardo Gonzalez. He's going to run against me now. His initials are R-E-G, and so it's just R-E-G at Miami-Dade.gov. It's not as good as Joanne's because Joanne's goes right to my desk, Joanne P. Janelle is my transportation person, Janelle J. Bobby Alvarez and Ella are your South Miami office representatives. It used to be a staff of one, now she has Bobby's helping her. So Ella Pestano, and she's very available in a place that's got plenty of parking. You know that we moved our offices to the city of South Miami, so right there where the clock is, that's where she is all the time. She has twins and she drives them to school and then gets there very soon after that. I'm building up to Jean-Jacques Ahido, as I call him, JC. But Sarah Odie is my newest member of my staff, graduated from Vassar, and she is also one of my communications wizards. JC Garrido, folks, is my in-house architect, and he helps with so many projects. You should know that we've introduced, we have the manager of the city of South Miami here, Steve Alexander. And I think I saw the manager of Palmetto Bay out there somewhere, Ron Williams? No? He couldn't stay with him. But JC is important because just this weekend, here's what he put together for me. This is not to preempt what you're going to do. This is a slightly different project, but it's related. We all know how much trails are needed, bike trails. This is a concept for the connector, the rail connector from Dayland all the way to US 1. We'll lift it up. All the way to US 1, and the idea is to have an elevated bike trail with solar panels that pick up electricity so that you can have self-energized lighting, at least, if not the actual trail, and it's not the actual light rail. And then the panels, if it begins to rain, cover the bike trail so that you can go all the way from ideally Florida City into Dayland. And people who are workforce, people who make just a few bucks an hour, can actually ride their bikes all the way in from Homestead all the way into Dayland. If you like these concepts, folks, please write letters. The mayors of all the cities have already endorsed the idea of extending Metro Rail down to Florida City, and it's being pushed by Representative Kiani McGee, who's my good friend and ally, and we're going to push to get the funding for this. I won't go into that, all of the funding ideas, but as to trails, the concept that I have submitted to the legislature is that any corridor that is built, whether it's highway or rail, will have 5% allocated to trails in the adjoining areas. That's the idea. It follows the model of not anything complicated. It follows the model of arts in public places, and that's 1.5% arts for any public projects. We have all kinds of county staff. I'm going to let Lourdes make the introduction. I guess Mark Warner, everybody knows and loves him for all the awards that he's gotten, including one that I recently gave him. And we're all here to do your bidding. This is your day. Draw away, give us ideas. A charrette, you know what a charrette is. I was, on the way over here, I was with one of the greatest architects in Miami, Bernardo Fabrizio, and we were talking about what a charrette is. You know, a charrette is actually that little carrette is from the French, that they used to take the blueprints in, and the architects, particularly the student architects, were designing away all the way right to the contest or to the professors or whatever. So they would take all the blueprints, the famous blueprints. And of course, I do want to point out that we have Victor Dover here, one of the top sustainable communities, authors, and activists in the United States. It's always an honor. If you don't want to buy his book, you can borrow mine because it costs a lot of money. Did I introduce everyone? I didn't miss anyone in staff. Thank you. I'm going to give the mic back to Lourdes, and I will be around. The mayor has that tape ready just in case I want to sneak away.
Thank you, Commissioner. I also wanted to acknowledge, I believe we have a community council member here, Mr. Matthew Large. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay, so I want to just, so you have in mind, if you have particular questions of county staff, we have representatives from certain departments here, so I just want them to wave quickly so you can see who they are. We've got staff here from Transit, right over there. Staff from the Parks Department, over there. We have staff from Public Works, in the back. From Water and Sewer, also in the back. And Durham. Right there, okay. And the rest of the staff that's going to wave their hands now is the Development Services and Planning staff of RER, which is our department, who's putting the charrette on for you. So they'll all be at the tables helping you. If you have any questions, one of them will be assigned to each table to assist you through the exercise today. I also wanted to acknowledge the property owner, FECI is here. There are a couple representatives here. Alfredo Delgados. We're going to Rafael Rodon is there as well.
I just want to say thank you. My name is Alfred Delgados. I'm with Florida East Coast Industries. We're here to seek your input. We love that we're here for this process, and thank you, Commissioner. We've been working really closely with staff and a lot of you. We're working hard to get you as much trail as possible, and I'm encouraged by what we've seen so far. So please design a way we can encourage you. Look at developing options that are closer to Bird Road, and we'll get you as much green area in other areas as possible. So we're happy to be here as part of the process, and enjoy the night.
One last thing I wanted to mention. I've been pressing the FECI folks to give us some idea of what the layout that they envision looks like. And I'm told, I think, am I wrong in this, that maybe by next month we'll have it? No? Rafael? By next month we'll have some idea of the layout that you're proposing? Starting today. Do you have some in your pocket that we can see? Okay, you have a table, great. So don't hesitate to badger them about what they're thinking of putting on the site. And of course, it's very complicated as to what they can or cannot and what we can prohibit. So we're doing this in a very conciliatory, consensual way until we see if we have an agreement or not. If we don't have an agreement, then maybe it's not considered. It's like the movie, right? Be nice until it's time to not be nice? No. We're going to be nice all the way. We're going to get it done, folks.
Okay, and the Commissioner already acknowledged Mr. Dover, who also represents another stakeholder group, Friends of the Trail.
Friends of the Ludlam Trail has been working really hard to get just exactly this to happen. Last year, we said to the county commissioners, please let us have a real charrette and do public participation before we plan this corridor. And so they did what we asked. So what you need to do is be open-minded and help each other, like neighbors help each other, make the best possible plan, be respectful. We ask you to check in frequently on Facebook at Ludlam Trail and at ludlamtrail.org. For the Friends of Ludlam Trail, we'll keep you apprised of what happens next. ludlamtrail.org. Thank you very much.
One last announcement. We have almost the entire commission from South Miami. Commissioner Gabriel Edmonds. There he is.
Thank you for coming. Okay, I'm going to introduce now, we're going to have just a couple brief remarks from our staff. Nathan Kogan is our Assistant Director for Development Services, and he's going to walk you through a little bit of the details of the charrette process.
Thank you, Lourdes. Nathan Kogan with Development Services, and we are charged with facilitating this charrette. We want to jump into this. We want to jump into the charrette as quickly as possible, so my words will be limited. Sorry, I apologize. We want to jump into the charrette as quickly as possible, so we don't keep you here all night. But first, we're going to have Mark Warner from the Planning Division to give a brief overview of the CDMP amendment that staff will be preparing, as well as how the work you do today translates to that comprehensive development plan process. Following Mark, Shailendra Singh with our Urban Design Center will give a brief PowerPoint presentation on the charrette process, what you will be doing here today, and he's going to give you some great ideas on how to effectively communicate your thoughts through design. Just for some housekeeping, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to fill in the sign-in sheets so we can stay in touch with you. There may be some additional meetings. And last but not least, our design studios, where you can continue to work with our planners and architects, will be at the Gibson Bethel Community Center from March 10th to March 12th. That's tomorrow, Tuesday through Thursday, from 2 to 8 p.m. at the Gibson Bethel Community Center,
Which is 5800 Southwest 66th Street.
Thank you. On behalf of the division, thank you for your participation, and we'll turn it over to Mark.
Good evening. Again, my name is Mark Warner. I'm the Assistant Director for Planning in the Department of Regulatory and Economic Resources. And you should all give yourselves a big round of applause to be here this time of night, in the evening, on a school night, and you may miss part of the voice. So we need to get to work. So my remarks are going to be very short. Number one, you're here tonight because of action that the Board of County Commissioners took. You'll recall that the FECI filed an application last May to amend the CDMP to propose the Ludlam Trail Corridor with a certain amount of development, mixed-use development, along with a trail component. You will all recall, and most of you probably attended the Community Council meetings that occurred in Community Council 8, 10, and 12, as well as the Planning Advisory Board, and then in November, December, when the Board of County Commissioners finally heard that application for transmittal. The applicant withdrew that application. In response to that, the board directed staff to then file a comprehensive plan amendment regarding the trail. And part of that direction was that there had to be 2 charrettes that were going to be held so that the public could come and discuss and draw and give us input on the trail itself. So for both Commission District 6, Commissioner Sosa, and of course Commissioner Suarez District tonight, that's why you're here tonight. The filing of an amendment would occur in the May 2015 cycle, so that's only a few months from now. And during that process, again, like the private application was filed, it would go to the relevant community councils, again, for public hearing in September. In October, the Planning Advisory Board would hold a hearing. And then finally, the Board of County Commissioners could entertain this application again in November. So that's sort of the short cycle, and of course, final action by the Board of County Commissioners, if an application is transmitted to the state, would occur in February of 2016. So that's the long and the short of it. That's sort of the schedule. So I think it's time to get to work. Thank you.
Thank you. I know all of you are ready to get started, but I'm going to walk you guys real quick through what is the charrette process. The commissioner just explained the word charrette is a French word for a cart, and the citizens, but also that's the same name for the cart that would take the citizens to the guillotine. So this is not that process. This is the entire six miles of the Ludlam Trail Corridor. We already had a charrette last week for the top 3, the District 6 part of it. Now we're going to be looking at that section from Bird Road down to all the way to Sunset Drive. You guys are already probably sitting right where you need to be. We are also going to have copies of the land use, the CDMP, the future land use, the existing, and the zoning also available for each table. So that if there are any questions, we're going to have all of that. So what are we going to do now? The maps that are in front of you are each section, like In this case, you can see number 5 out of the entire corridor. These are 3. But we also have, this is the enlargement of that piece, but we also have the entire 6 miles. So if you have worked on the section that you're interested in, but you still want to talk about any areas, you still have it on the same map. So it's not that you have to get up and go to another map. You can still keep working and giving us ideas on it. This is what we're going to do now. There's going to be one facilitator or planner sitting on your table as soon as before we get started. But today is not their day to draw or put ideas. You are the ones that are going to guide this process. If anything, they will help you point out if you need to be oriented. But really, we want to hear from you today. So draw. If you don't like to draw, write. Whatever works. But there are some Charrette rules before we get started, okay? There are just some Charrette rules. Signing your name as soon as we get started. So, because these are historic maps, they're going to stay in perpetuity like this. These are the ones that are going to be the basis for the blueprints for the final vision. So please sign in your name to the map that you're sitting on. No speeches, all right? This is the day that we're going to use to argue with our pencils. And by that, I don't mean poke the one next to you in the eye, but draw. Don't just say draw, and if you don't want to draw, you can write. Today, no idea is a bad idea, okay? Let's not worry about funding just for today. That's something that can be vetted after this. But today, let's just be open and have our vision. So no idea is a bad idea. Let's not think about funding just for today. All right? And have fun. This is probably, like Lourdes said, this is probably going to be the most fun meeting that you will go to. After we are done, about an hour, 45 minutes, an hour of that, you guys are going to be presenting your ideas to the rest of the room, okay? It's not going to be the planner or the facilitator that's sitting on your table, but it'll have to be one of you, a volunteer, or it can be 2 of you, or the entire table can come up and talk. Doesn't matter. But it's you that's going to be explaining everything that you talked about or did within that last 1 hour. So we're going to have that after the process, right? And what happens immediately after this? We're going to take all these ideas and we're going to be in the Gibson Bethel Community Center from tomorrow, that's Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way to Thursday, from 2 to 8 p.m. in the evening. So there are no excuses. There will be enough time for you guys to come back. There are a lot of people that probably didn't make it here today. They can still come back and give us ideas, and we're going to try and put some of those ideas that we hear from you down into more precise drawings. Okay? So with that, let's get started. Yeah.
Just want to announce this is the biggest charrette probably in the history of Dade County. We have 216 people, according to Mayor Stoddard, who's very good at counting.
So if staff could please just get onto one table, 1 or 2 of you on each table.